Today morning, we heard the announcement about, or rather, the news about RBI allowing hotel companies to raise foreign debt to repay local debt. Now, for companies which have got sizable debt on their books, this would probably be a shot in the arm. Hotel Leela probably one such company. If I'm not wrong, their total debt on the books is around 4,000 crore rupees. Let's get in Vivek Nair, Vice Chairman and MD of Hotel Leela Ventures, on the line from Mumbai to speak about how big a positive this could be. Mr. Nair, good having you. Thanks so much for joining in. And is this a relief for companies such as yours?
Great. It's a great boost for the industry. This is what the FHRI, of which I'm the current president, has been clamoring for the last several years. We've been asking for hotels to be included in the infrastructure lending list of the RBI. On inclusion, you're able to substitute your rupee debt by ECBs, which are obviously at a much lower rate of interest, and the benefit could be as high as 7 to 8% difference in the rate of interest. So this is indeed a great boon, but unfortunately, the criteria they put, which is 75% of the average of the last 3 years, only covers about 20-25% of the total rupee debt of an average hotel, which has a 250 crores investment. But that's a different matter. We're taking it up with the Department of Economic Affairs to make the policy more realistic and beneficial to the industry. Separately, our request for extending the present infrastructure norm, which is for cities of 10 lakhs and above, only allows 95% of the total hotel projects in the country to be to avail of loans as available to infrastructure. That is 15 years, lower rate of interest, etc. We understand that the government is considering our request to make it applicable across the country, 3-star hotels and above, across the country, which will give the meaningful boost to the hotel sector, for which there's a huge demand-supply imbalance. In fact, we have been mandated by the Ministry of Tourism, Government of India, and the Planning Commission to add 180,000 more guest rooms in the next 5 years.
Right. Mr. Nair, how much money have you raised overseas and how much has been paid off? Also, could you just highlight the differential in terms of interest cost, a burden on account of foreign loans versus domestic loans?
Yeah, as I mentioned, the differential cost would be around 6 to 8%. But right now, only about, as per this policy, if you take 75% of the last year's earnings, you only cover about 20-25% of your debt exposure. So we are reverting back to the ministry to make it more meaningful, so that at least 70-80% of the debt exposure, if not 100%, can be substituted by foreign currency loans.
So, Mr. Nair, let me just ask you, assuming that doesn't happen and the policy stays as it is, for Hotel Leela, under the current clauses, for the next year, which is the whole 12-month period, what's the kind of interest cost saving that you think you could do? Just a back of the envelope calculation.
Approximately 100 crores can be 150 crores can be reduced out of the total debt exposure, and that's not much at all, as I mentioned to you. It's hardly 10%.
Okay,
so it's not really meaningful for the industry with the present norms, but I'm sure we can pick it up with the ministry and have them see our way to make the policy more meaningful.
So 150 crores out of the 4,000 crore exposure that you have right now. I believe your total debt is 4,000 odd crore rupees.
That's right.
Okay. And assuming, Mr. Nair, just one final word, assuming that it does come in a form and shape that you would hope for, what's the kind of overall debt that you have would be covered by such a norm?
Yeah, we are requesting that it should be 7 times the average of the last 3 years, 75% of the average of the last 3 years. And since we have an average foreign exchange earnings of 60% across the group, we could almost cover 75-80% of our debt. As it is, our debt is being reduced by 2,000 crores in the next few months through the restructuring plan we have put in place. So this will really help us if we are able to get the formula increased to 7 times the average of the last 3 years of foreign exchange earnings.
Just before we wrap up, Mr. Nair, I thought I heard you say that the interest cost differential would be as much as 6 to 7%. So what's the current rate of interest that you pay on the domestic loans that you have?
Right now we're paying 11% to 12%.
Okay.
And if this comes at about LIBOR plus 6 or, they're about all-inclusive cost of say 6%, you would get about 5 to 6% saving. And fresh loans, as you know, in the market are 12 to 13%, even from Tourism Finance Corporation of India, which is the specialized body giving assistance to hotels and other tourism-related industries.
Great. Good having you, Mr. Nair, and all the best with that reapplication as well.